Good evening, everybody. Donated here from my shop, and surprisingly got some more snow today here in Wisconsin. Most of you from Wisconsin are probably well aware of this, but any people in other states might be a bit taken aback. But it's Wisconsin. Weather is just kind of very unpredictable at times, but that's not the whole point of this live stream. Basically, how am I going to put this? A lot of technology is starting to change. The way like Windows 10 is going, it's actually starting to go into a better direction. And why I say that is a lot of functions in 10 seem to be functioning a lot better, but there's still some flaws in it, like security flaws. But as far as the OS, I've noticed that things are getting a little bit better with it. There's more compatibility with software and a lot of USB drivers and printers. Even some of your earlier printers, now there's drivers available for Windows 10, so that's another good plus too. And on top of that, it'd actually be kind of interesting to try a Core i9 processor, but that'll come eventually. So basically, what ended up happening with that one job with the school I was doing, even though that the principals and the teachers wanted a new server and more updated infrastructure, their parish priest just kind of condemned the idea of it and said, "Oh, you don't need that. You don't need anything. Quit your whining. Quit your complaining." Well, that pretty much put the kibosh on that project. So basically, what was going to end up happening was I was going to outsource that to an engineer, because I'm not a network engineer to begin with. I'm only a PC technician. I do some networking stuff, but I'm not a full-blown technician or an engineer. I'm only a PC technician. So that's basically any business that you run. I don't care what you do. If you're a car mechanic, not every mechanic does everything either. Some mechanics, the transmissions or transmissions and stuff like that get outsourced. I don't care what you do. And even like your general contractors, they don't do all the work themselves either. A lot of times they get electricians in or plumbers. The carpentry work and tile work and building work they do themselves usually, but a lot of times they outsource their electrical and plumbing or installation of windows, depending on. It's kind of a normal norm for a business. And as far as my business, even though I still take jobs anyway, but I tend to outsource them just at times because there's certain people that are qualified in specialty applications. And basically that school is basically a specialty case. Even though that contractor is working under me and I'm kind of giving them direction, but sometimes you got to outsource certain things, and it's pretty much a normal thing to see nowadays. Is I know I'm kind of rambling here, but what's really exciting about some of these jobs that you go on, you don't know what you're gonna come across. The interesting thing is when you're going place to place, you never know what you're gonna come across. You never know what kind of people you're gonna run into or who you're gonna deal with. Well, it's basically the same thing. But the technology aspect of it, it's kind of interesting to see how what they're using, how they're using it, what kind of resources they're using. I would have to. Well, another thing to add to it is most interesting thing is when you go to each your bars and restaurants really aren't that exciting or grocery stores, but when you go into your old historical like schools and school buildings from pre 1960 era or just kind of historical places, kind of interesting actually just to look at the architecture of the place. And you're really not there for that, but you just kind of take a glance around and just kind of admire the vintage pre 70s, 80s, or 50s or 60s or 40s or 20s or 1900 or even before that. It's just kind of breathtaking and beautiful. So basically, another interesting thing about going on service calls is the traveling, and it's really not that bad traveling around to different offices and different buildings, and I kind of enjoy it. But sometimes you got to figure that they don't always have a lot of money to do some of these massive upgrades or replacements. So that's unfortunate that a lot of places just don't have a decent budget for updates and upgrades and stuff. But eventually, push comes to shove. If it dies or burns up or whatever, they'll come crawling back. Matter of time. So on that note, we're gonna call it a night, and we'll be back again tomorrow.